Let's take a look now at managing payroll clocking in Black Pearl. Let's head over here to this sandbox account. So before you look at managing payroll clocking, it needs to be noted that whoever is managing payroll clocking needs to first have those permissions. So let's look at our user permissions group. Currently, we're using the system as an admin with all permissions. If we look in here, we have all permissions. Let's now look at the scenario where your technicians may be logged in through the licensed user's account as the service group. And this particular group may have quite a few restrictions in place. Currently, we can see that if this is where all the technicians are using a terminal, they could only see the deal, service job, and merchandise. Now, if we look right here, we'll also see that these particular technicians are not allowed to manage payroll clocking. If you did want to allow that for a certain user group, you would turn it on. And same goes with job clocking. So let's head over now to payroll clocking. And what that is for managing it is if you have permission, you will see this, manage payroll clocking. Now what this is a way to correct errors and to make up for errors in time that have been put in place or taken out of place when it comes to payroll clocking, which may adversely affect your productivity reporting per the technician report. So what you can do here is you can search by a date range. And so this search here is, just the last day. So we can take this back and search from the first, and now we'll see all entries. We can search for just an employee. So we can look at, say, Bill Witherspoon, and it doesn't look like Bill has done any work in the last while. But if we expand that, now we can see all of the entries. What else we can do is just remove that. And now we're searching by all technicians in all times. And let's run through a few examples here. If we look down at, say, this one here, Bart Sampson on the 14th. Looks like Bart clocked in at 4:32 p.m., clocked out at 12:14 p.m., and worked 163 hours. Now this is obviously a mistake, and it's going to disrupt your technician reporting. So if you want to edit that one, no problem. Say if that day the accurate time was 8:30 a.m. that Bart showed up to work. And let's say that day Bart left at 4:35 p.m. Now you are managing the accurate hours used for efficiencies, proficiencies, and productivities. And as soon as we tab away from that, you'll now see the update has been put in place. In this particular case, because we had reverse times, it didn't put the first one in, so you'd want to make sure that you have that in place because we had starting times that were before our end times. So now you have that accurate entry in that date. So this is how a manager can look at time entries. It also might mean that, hey, Bart showed up one day and said, hey, I was here on time, but I forgot to clock in. Can you please clock me in at the right time? That's what this is for. Further to that, you can also create some entries. So let's go back and we're just going to look at Bart as an example. There's quite a few here. But say if there was a day that Bart completely forgot to log on, that's where you can go in and you can start to create those entries. Perhaps those entries were way back on the 7th. At 8 a.m. until, let's say, 3 p.m. And that's when you'd go ahead and save that entry once it's allowed. If it's not letting you, that's likely because this time entry already exists on that day, so it would be overlapping, and so that's why you're not seeing it, the ability to save. So this would only be possible if this were on a date and time that this entry would work. And so once you have that working, you can save it and add a new entry. So in other words, this is stopping redundancies from being put in place. Hope that was a helpful overview of managing payroll clocking.